Okay, example 3. So this is the one where the two people are working on the paper route together. We just discussed the fact that even though it says together, you don't add like you normally do when it says together, because it shouldn't take you more time to do it in partners. So if we're sharing a project and I do half of it, you have to do half of it. If I do a third of it, how much do you have to do? 2/3 of it. What are those how do you know what those fractions are? When I give you a quarter of it, how do you know the other part that you have to do is 3/4? Because it has to add to a whole. Perfect. So that's what you want. You need to do a portion of this, okay? Now, we can't say that Sheena does 1/40th and that he does 1/50th. But we sort of can use that information. So what you usually do for these ones is, when I teach it, I start with a chart, but afterwards you're going to see you probably don't need the chart. So Sheena, Jeff together. Okay? Now if you want to start writing it down, you can. The time to deliver the papers is 40 minutes for Sheena, 50 minutes for Jeff, and an unknown value, T minutes, when you do it together. That value T should be less than what number? Less than 50, but it should also be less than 40, right? Because if it takes Sheena 40 minutes to do it, when Jeff helps her, it should reduce that number, right? So this T down here, we kind of have an idea that, first of all, it's going to be a positive number because it's time, but it should be less than 40 minutes. Okay, now we're going to look at the portion of work done in 1 unit of time. So if this is in minutes, how much can Sheena do in 1 minute? Well, she does 1/40th of the work. Okay, if you aren't sure how we would get that, we know it takes 40 minutes. So each minute she does 1/40th, then the next minute she'd have 2/40ths done, then the next minute she'd have 3/40ths done because you're adding 1/40th plus 1/40th plus 1/40th every minute till she gets 40 40ths. She'd have the whole job done in 40 minutes. So her fraction of work per minute is 1/40th. His fraction of work per minute is 1/50th. And together, every minute, they have 1 out of T. Okay? Then the very last one is, how much work does she get done in T minutes? Well, how much work does Sheena get done in 1 minute? 1/40th. How much does she get done in 2 minutes? Well, you times that by 2, you get 2/40ths. How much work does she get done in 3 minutes? You times that by 3, it's 3/40ths. How much work does she get done in T minutes? Well, that's going to be the T/40ths. That's where they're getting that from. And his would also be T/50ths now. Okay? I don't usually have this last column. Okay? But I do know this, what you told me before. Her portion plus his portion, if I know that it's for T amount of minutes, so I'm going to put a little T here instead of a 1. This should equal 1 whole. Okay? Now, if you were going to fill out the whole chart, what were they missing here in the bottom before they have this? T over T, right? Because these were T over 40, T over 50. This one would be T over T. But that's where they're coming up from. So this is your equation here. Okay? Now, you can do a chart if you want to, but anytime this works. Okay? So if it takes me 25 minutes to do something and you 30 minutes to do something, and we work together, it's T over 25 plus T over 30 equals 1. Okay? So anytime, 15 minutes and 20 minutes, T over 15 plus T over, sorry, I just saw this, I made a mistake, didn't I? This is 50. Sorry, if it was 15 minutes and 20 minutes, then it would be T over 15 and plus T over 20 equals 1 every single time. Okay, now let's go and solve this right here. It says, how long to the nearest minute does the paper route take if they work together? Okay, so we have T over 40 plus T over 50 equals 1. And now I always pretend that every whole number is a fraction, just so I can see if there's a denominator to get rid of, okay, or how to multiply the other pieces on. I can times this by 40. If I times everything by 40, I'm allowed to do this. I don't have to get common denominators because I already have my equal sign. The 40 cancels off. What's the other number I have to cancel? 50. So I'm going to times everything by 50 as well. And the 50 cancels on that one. And now what you have left is you have 50t plus 40t equals, and is this 2,000? Okay, and now you can solve. Now you can put them together. 50t plus 40t is 90t. And then divide by 90 on both sides. And what answer do you get there? Do you have that one? Nope, anybody? Mine's just left as a fraction, 200 over 9, but what is it really? How many minutes? Let's run it to the nearest whole minute. 22, good, 22 minutes, yeah. Which makes sense, because we said it had to be less than each of them individually. So just